Last week I said that God was far bigger, stronger, older and more knowledgeable. We generally give him credit for. Quite a strong thing to say at Easter. But it does show us that there is more to God than just an unexpected birth, followed by a ministry ending with someone being nailed to a tree. But this, I'm guessing, would have prompted the question, why? Same with me. Not just, why am I doing this? But why does such a vast and wonderful being, with such endless power and wisdom, bother to pay attention to us? Listen to us, or for that matter, give us his only Son to die for us. I've said in previous videos that we are arrogant, bloodthirsty, self-obsessed simians, bent on the destruction of the one thing that can, and likely ever will, keep us alive. We think ourselves the centre of the universe, not helped by the fact that, according to scientists and astrophysicists, the centre of the universe is the one looking at it. Why do we have any right to bear God's image and favour, let alone have him sacrifice his own Son for us? In this video, I will tell you why. It's worthwhile bearing in mind that humans are rather unique as a species. The most living things to Homo sapiens, living with us today, are a handful of apes, like chimpanzees, orangutans, gorillas, and gibbons. They may not be able to walk upright like us, for the most part, speak multiple languages, or build anything like a kettle and make a cup of tea, which, in the minds of some stereotypical intellectuals, makes them less than human. In the fossil records, there are quite a few creatures that are starting to bridge the gap between humans and proto-apes, resulting in creatures such as Australopithecus, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, and Neanderthals, many of whom share traits that are close enough to humans in the earliest days of mankind to be part of the Homo genus. And yet, we alone stand above the apes, and are the last hominids on this planet. Could this be a sign of God's favour? Could this be the fact that we are his best design? It is said that God created man in his own image, and that often puts man apart from the rest of creation, saying he's the one that rules over the animals. Yet, in one of my earlier videos, I said that God isn't human. Whilst I stand by that view, I am willing to be proven wrong, and if anyone can tell me the direct translation from the Hebrew of God made man in his own image, I'll be willing to hear it. But this is what I think it means. I don't think it means as in the image that God has, not his natural image, but the image that he had in his mind. I might say his imagination, but I don't think the Hebrew stretches that far. I think it literally means his image that he saw for us. To compare it to a creative process that we would understand, many ideas start off in our heads and we draw them out on paper or boards. Hence why some designs are sometimes said not to get off the drawing board. Often it helps us to get those down on paper, like sketches, drafts, or even notes. When I write my essays, I do the same, tying them out, erasing a few sentences that don't make any sense, leaving on a ramble, or even those ones that start leading me on a different point that takes me off the main topic. Those I clip out and then smooth out into my current video, which I use to read off. Not always so well, but I'm not perfect, and that's to be expected. I am human after all. God being perfection itself, He knows what He wants. He knows how to make it, but sometimes things don't always go well. Some designs just need a little bit of tweaking. So the fact that we alone remain of the hominids, whilst we know there have been Neanderthals, Homo erectus, and other smaller hominids across the world, shows that for humans, something was right. What was it, however, that made us the perfect design, and therefore outlast our distant cousins, despite our brutal and destructive ways? This is an interesting place, where religion and science draw similar conclusions. Our brains, the way we think, our minds, we are able to perceive the world in ways that are far beyond that of animals that live alongside us, and have done for thousands of years. I often think that life is in cognitive levels, from those that merely react to small amounts of stimuli, are living or dying, to those that change in response to it, to those that move around to adjust that stimuli, and eventually those of us who can think what those stimuli have meant, what they mean now, and what they could mean in the future. We are the ones that can think not only in the present, but also in the past and the future, and sometimes around us as well. God is even higher than that, but the fact we stand above most animals, who mostly focus on the present and what happened in the past, we are certainly a step above them. This can be a stop-start moment for some people. And it will say, that's it, there's no more to be said. We are the perfect design, and God made us that way. We have big brains, so we don't need to worry about it. But I'm guessing there are some people who, like me, are trying to figure out why He bothers with us. There must be more to it than that. Since those people are trying to see it from God's end of the telescope, I think, it's worthwhile trying to look at it from that direction. Not so easy. Those of you who have seen my previous videos know God can perceive things on levels of existence beyond our understanding. From the vast movements of galactic clusters across the known universe, to tiny vibrations of quantum particles measuring no more than a Planck length. Furthermore, by His own admission, God doesn't think like us. It's not human. Why should He? Combining all these, we find that He must be aware of vast amounts of distance, energy, and mass that we can't calculate or even understand with our standard additive counting system and have to categorize them in groups of themselves. This is an extremely difficult concept to grasp, but another video, another channel, has talked about this. Vsource1. I shall leave a link to them in the description. If I remember, I'll put a card up as well. That video explains an awful lot better than I can, though I will try. But basically, beyond a certain point, exact numbers matter very little. The scenario I like to use is 2 questions about predators hunting you. Are there 2 wolves or 3? That's a more important question than are there 92 wolves or 93 wolves? You don't need to be a genius to know that it's the same difference, 1 wolf. Whilst the first can be the difference between life and death, the second practically makes a difference. Before any of you make the argument that it could matter how many shots it takes to kill them, most predators won't hang around long enough against such strong resistance to make that count worthwhile. We use numbers in proportion like that all the time.
Because this concept is extremely difficult to get one's head around, I felt as though I should draw it out on paper so we can understand. As many creative things do, we find writing things on paper tends to help. In this case, what I find is the multiplication method of counting happens quite naturally with us. Suppose a classic example is tallies. So say, when we just want to make a mark of things, we just go, we see 1, we see another 1, and another 1, oh, there's another. And so far we've got 4. But when we want a 5th, we do this. We know instantly that line means 5, therefore we don't have to spend time counting them up. So we can keep going with this until we know, once we simply count up those 5s, we have 3 5s, that's 15. So we know we have a sample size of 15. Easy enough. Strange enough, our decimal system works in a similar manner. But instead of multiples of 5, it's multiples of 10. For example, that is the first unit of the 1. We have, and if we want 10 times that, we simply put a 0 next to it. 10 times 1 is, well, 10. And if we want to do the same, make it 10 times that, put another 0, that's 100. Same again, 100. We want 10 times 100, that's 1,000. And it goes on. So it's a super easy method. We do this an awful lot. That's the important thing to remember about logarithms. They sound complicated, but in fact they are super easy to do. You could say our system is the only one that does it, but the Romans had a similar one. Instead of just having multiple symbols for multiple numbers, they had single symbols for set numbers. For example, if you want 1, they had I. But if they wanted 5, they put V. They wanted 10, they put X. If they wanted multiples of 10, they would go 2 x's. When they get to a further number, in this case, say 5 times 10, that's 50, that is L. And when they finally get to a number bigger than that, which is 100, they go with C. I don't remember the Latin terms for 1, 5, 10 and 5, 50, sorry. But the C, many of us know as century, hence 100. Many people think that the symbol M is used for 1,000, though that was more a later invention. Most scholars believe these days that it was simply X with a line over the top, because 1,000 really ventured into their units. That just shows that we naturally do multiplication to simplify things. And we do this quite often, not just in the decimal system, but in the dozenal system, when counting money. And quite often, some more natural lifestyles prompt a more natural way of writing, or a more natural way of counting, rather. So, with shepherds, they go from 1 to 20, so let's put another tally score here. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20. That is 1 score. So let's put 1 score there. And they can keep counting. Normally they do it on their hands. So say if they see they have 20 sheep and they have some more, they'll take a pun. Then they keep counting, yan, tan, tevra, and so on. Have another 20. 2 score. Often they can go right up to really big numbers, just in their heads, using that system, to the point where you can have 5 score on one hand, and 5 score, 5 times 20, that's 100. And that leads into the hundreds on the other hand. So you can have easily up to 600 sheep without ever writing it down, just remembering it on your hands. As the number system goes up to 20, that's why after 20, much of our numbers tend to be the 10 plus the units afterwards. Whereas originally it was the scores. Hope this will make it a bit clearer.
This mathematical logarithmic scale is often used nowadays to measure things like earthquakes or a natural perception of sound. On the Richter scale, a measurement of from 1 to 10, each one goes up by a factor of 10. So you end up with it being 10 times stronger from 1 to 2, but from 1 to 4, that is 10,000 times stronger. Seeing as it's such a natural thing, and God not only is natural, but the creator of all things natural, it stands to reason you'd think like this. I can't be sure, but it makes more sense than anything. To give a reference frame for us, consider this. Resource 1 does this as well, so if you feel his explanation is going to make a lot more sense, by all means do. But if I was to ask you, what number is halfway between 1 and 9, what would your answer be? Many of us would say 5, because on one side of 5 there's 4 numbers between 1 and 5, and there's 4 numbers between 5 and 9. But logarithmically, it's actually 3, because it takes 3 lots of 1 to get to 3, and it takes another 3 lots of 3 to get to 9. So let's take that natural perspective of scales and apply that to the scale that God works on. The game Vsauce 1 does this, so by all means check out his video if you're happy with that. But if we take the largest thing in existence, the observable universe, and the smallest thing in existence, the Planck length, what is the middle of that? If the Planck length is 1 and the observable universe is 9, what's 3? The answer is us. The number of Planck lengths it takes to cross a human brain cell is the exact number of human brain cells needed to cross the observable universe. So in a way, our minds make us the centre of the universe, not in some cosmographical sense, but the sense of God's awareness. Wow. So if you ever start to wonder why God looks at us, let alone helps us out in strange ways, on many levels, despite the fact many of us spit in his face, claim his gifts as our own creative wonders, downplay him in drastic ways, or even denounce him entirely, remember that he created us in the perfect image. His original image he thought of for us. And if you start to wonder why he pays attention to us, compared to the vastness of space and the absolute minute structures of matter, remember, as far as he is concerned, we are the centre of the universe. If that doesn't show how loving God is, I don't know what does. 2 harrowing videos back to back. I don't blame you if your head is bursting at all this knowledge. Sometimes you can't blame the priests and such for simplifying God. As long as we know that as far as he's concerned, we're the centre of his universe, all we need to do is look to him. You may know I've used quite a few scientific references in this video, and even referenced a very mathematical video. I recommend checking out that Vsauce 1 video. You know a lot more about it than me, and I had a harrowing time filming this. So go check that out, and check out next week's video, where I discuss the age-old argument of religion versus science, and how they can come together in a sensible manner. To make it easier and get updates on that front, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel below, don't forget to click the notification bell, and you'll get updates when the next video lands, and also know when it premieres. You can also check out my Facebook page. I sometimes post stuff on there, I don't always, I'll be honest. But if you want to start discussions on there with friends, or even start posting suggestions, by all means do it on Facebook or in the comments of this video. If you have any suggestions for videos you want to do, any scriptures you want to look at, any music for those videos, or even, in this case, if you happen to know the exact Hebrew translation of that Bible verse and what it actually entails, by all means leave them in the comments below. I'm open to suggestions. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, share with your friends, stay safe, keep your hands washed, share the love, And God be with you, my friends.